I'm delivering an informative speech on racism. Racism, the biggest cancer that has plagued the United States for hundreds and hundreds of years. People often ask, is there still racism? Does racism still exist? A very small number of people don't believe so, but a large number of people do. According to the poll on NBC News in 2018, 64% of Americans say racism remains a major problem. Racism is very much still in existence. With all the killings of African Americans by white police officers and the rise of neo-Nazis, racism has become more evident in recent times. You would think, after all this time, this topic would not be a topic of conversation. After all this country has been through and accomplished, you would think, why is this still an issue? But racism continues to be one of America's greatest issues. The existence of racism is so well in the life today that trust in law enforcement has significantly decreased. The decrease in trust of law enforcement is a result of the recent multiple killings of unarmed black men and women by white police officers and the injustice in those cases. Eric Gardner, Michael Brown, Walter Scott, Freddie Gray, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, Stephen Clark, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. The names I have just listed are all unarmed African Americans that were killed by law enforcement. These men and women were killed simply because of racial profiling. Most of them have been killed because they were accused of having weapons on them when they didn't, which caused the police to act the way they did. The stigma that most police officers carry, and particularly white police officers, that most black Americans are seen as thugs, criminals, and very violent people. So when approaching or dealing with someone of color in those situations drives them to act aggressive and quick to pull the trigger. The fact that most of the police officers in those situations have not been punished because of their acts, the fact that it is more likely for that to occur with black Americans than white Americans proves to us that racism is still alive. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, white alone make up 75% of the population. Blacks make up 13.6% of the population. Indian and Alaskan Native make up 1.3% of the population. But in prison rates, blacks represent 38% of that population. The fact is that blacks get harder, harsher, and crucial sentences than white offenders for the same crime. This is a blatant example of racism in our judicial system. Most of those crimes are drug and murder-related crimes. Usually in sentencing, black offenders have a higher possibility of getting life sentence, if not the death penalty. The fact that it is harder for people of color to get out of prison than whites is another example of judicial racism. Thank you.